glad to be here. Few words about Square Cow. You'll see, if you pick up one of our flyers, we call ourselves movers with manners. To me, that is, yeah, that's right, it's movers, it's M-O-O, it's got the cow motif. One of the things that I would really stress to you is when you're looking for movers, you should not just be comparing price. And that's what a lot of people do. They think, well, it's just a commodity product, I'll get the cheapest one possible. You can always find a guy with a truck, you know, to throw your stuff in the back and move it, and it'll be very cheap. But your stuff won't get there the way you want it, and you're not going to be treated the way you want to be treated. When I hire movers, I don't just hire the biggest, strongest guys. I hire people who are kind, and who are flexible, and who communicate well. And that's important for all moves because it's a very emotional, stressful time for everybody. In particular, it's a very emotional, stressful time for seniors. You need somebody who's going to talk to you, to listen to you, to understand what your concerns are, and make sure we get your things from where they are starting to where they're going safely and exactly the way you want them to be. And that's what we strive to do at Square Cow. And again, we work with professionals such as the ones in this network. We do a lot of senior moves, and we'd be happy to work with you. So I have flyers and cards on the table. Of course, Melissa and I will stick around to talk to anybody who wants any more information. But that's my thing for today. So turn it back over to the program.
Great, thank you. Thanks for the snacks.
Thank you for the
So I'd like to introduce our speakers. So as you know, our topic today is downsizing and organizing. And I think all of us, I know my husband and I were just talking about this the other day, that we've been in our house for 33 years. And it's like we're talking about making a move. And it's like, we need to start doing this now. We need to start organizing, getting rid of things and doing that. Because it does take time to do all that. So that's why we have Liz and Sherry today to talk about that and starting the process and what that looks like as far as making a move. Maybe to either a retirement community or a smaller home, whatever that might look like. So Liz Austen is with Savvy Resources. She's a professional organizer. She helps you go in and help declutter, to go through that mental aspect of things, the physical aspect of it. She's a move manager, so she helps you gather all the things and, like Ken was talking to, decide, is this going with me or is this going somewhere else? And so she's the professional that can come in and help you with those things. Because sometimes I know in my own, we get caught up in our heads, right, of the emotional attachment to things. So having somebody that's not as emotionally attached to it can really help the process. And then Sherry Cree with Ascendant Title. Sherry's a real estate agent. I've known Sherry for many years. Her and I have worked together with many clients. She's been in the business for a long time. She's very caring. She helps you through the whole process. And she really has a passion of working with older adults and helping them, again, go through that moving process from the time you're thinking about moving to the time you actually make your move. So she's a great person to work with if you're thinking about maybe selling your home or making that move right now. So love to hear from Sherry and Liz. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Renata. I'm going to go over there.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Hi everybody, downsizing, decluttering is on our mind, and it's not just for seniors, but when the seniors go through life transitions, it typically becomes a big burden to have too much stuff, and you don't use them, you don't need them, and you cannot manage them, but you are buried psychologically in all the belongings. So today I'm honored to have Liz present with us, and she is going to cover actual execution of decluttering, organizing, and downsizing today. But I'm going to talk about overview of the concept of downsizing. It's not always moving from big house to small house. It's sometimes right sizing. So downsizing also applies to stay in place for aging too. By organizing your living environment, you get to stay in your current home with less clutter and safer environment. So I want you to think about downsizing, not just for seniors or not just for moving from big space to smaller space. Downsizing could apply to, complicated lifestyle to simplified lifestyle, so you have more time and energy to focus on important things. Okay, signs, it may be a time to downsize or at least think about downsizing. And oftentimes with aging, your physical limitation, home maintenance feels physically and emotionally overwhelming. So you could use a lot of outside services like lawn care or house cleaning, that kind of things can be outsourced, but just managing all those home maintenance issues will also be a burden to your mental health. Sometimes physically, the stairs or yard work or unused space, like you are living on a 4-bedroom house and 3 bedrooms are just the guest bedroom set sitting there collecting dust, and you are living in a very small rest of the house, and sometimes the housing is going to be misaligned with your lifestyle. And financial downsizing, the housing cost, the property taxes has increased quite a bit, and property insurance is a big issue in the state of Colorado right now, skyrocketed insurance cost, and then also the maintenance cost of the homes. Nothing in home lasts forever. This is what I emphasize when I'm working with the first-time home buyers, the younger generation. Furnace is not going to last forever. AC needs to be replaced at some point. Roof gets, old, and then without even hail damage, the roof's not going to last forever. So there's a expense, the financial responsibility for owning and maintaining a home. So that could be, becoming a bigger issue. And health, physical health needs. So a lot of seniors move from their current living environment to moving with adult children or downsizing to smaller home in a senior community, or simply you cannot take care of the home and then going into the senior care homes. Physical need, some people relocate to move closer to the medical team for your health conditions. So my mother-in-law did that. She moved from Coeur d'Alene to Boise to be in the area where her husband went through that cancer journey. So, the downsizing is not just big house to small house, but there's financial or physical health element to it. So what's the successful downsizing look like? And the key is early planning. And you may have seen my title, Sherry Cree, Realtor and Senior Transition Specialist. What's that mean? I could just raise hand and say, I'm a senior transition specialist, but I want to explain what that means. Is that you want to work with the professionals who can help you entertain different options. So I have downsizing clients. They're retired, and they told me, Sherry, we're not going to live forever. Our time is limited. I don't need a big house. I don't host big gatherings. I want to be close to where our grandbabies are. And so I get to be at every dance recital, every soccer games, and we want to be the parents that is part of the grandkids' life. And it was difficult. They lived in Tucson, and their grandkids were in Colorado. So they downsized from beautiful property in Tucson to somewhere where grandchildren can bicycle too. And then that was their home search. Most important criteria was the grandkids can, after school, walk to the grandparents' house or bicycle to the grandparents' house. So that was the most important search criteria for their home. And then since they wanted to live close to their adult children with the grandparents, grandkids, so that they did not need a massive house because they already have a home there, and then grandparents wanted to be close. Sometimes the retirees move across the state line, and always the biggest motivation is being part of the grandkids' life. So at some point of life, that what's important to us will kind of shift. And the goal of downsizing, the biggest goal is to lighten up your responsibilities, both physically, financially, and be in the environment, the home environment, that you get to have freedom to enjoy what you like to do. And early planning is the key, and you want to start planning downsizing before you need to move. So once you have a moving element in your plan, there's a timeline, the clock is ticking, and it's a lot more stressful when you have to round up and do everything by a certain deadline. So what I recommend is involve your family members or friends or professionals, and start writing down what your goal is if you were to downsize. And these are the 4 elements that is your guideline, is what are you trying to accomplish financially by doing downsizing? And then that will determine what kind of options are applicable for your downsizing. And physical and health needs, like my mother-in-law's case, that was to be closer to the medical team. And emotional part of it is that, how would you like to feel after downsizing is completed? And I always believe downsizing is not losing your space. Downsizing is not losing your belongings. Downsizing is to free up your energy and resources for something that you enjoy. So maybe by downsizing, you travel more. You go on a cruise. You go on trips with the family. So emotional goal for downsizing is that will take you there, that when things get hard. And then logistical downsizing, maybe you need more family support, and your adult children typically, working full time, and even if you lived in Thornton, and then adult children is in Castle Rock, it's not that far, but it's hard for them to check in every day, or have dinner together. So my mother is in Tokyo, so it's very far, and then I can only check in once a year. But logistical goal for downsizing. So you have a clear picture, and then it's okay.
I'm sorry, it skipped ahead.
It's okay.
And there's a delay.
So by writing those down, that you will have a clear picture of what your goals are by downsizing, and then how you downsize depends on what your goals are. And then also write down your obstacles. What you're concerned about. By downsizing, I'm concerned about leaving my friends in my neighborhood to go to a different part of town to be closer to the family. How, so those are obstacles that you, or like a medical care, depending on your downsizing plan, you should not only write down the goals, but the obstacles and concerns too. Okay, and the next point for successful downsizing is build your transition team or involve your professional resources. So typically, downsizing is just you may think downsizing is just a physical, house change, but as I mentioned, it could be financial, it could be other things involved. So estate planning attorney, the financial advisor with a senior focused experience, Medicare insurance specialist, geriatric care manager or navigator, all those people, you want to build your team. You want to find somebody you can trust to discuss your plans before you have to do something. And then organizers, estate sale professionals, senior movers, or like a junk haulers, all different kind of services are available once you get into the execution stage. But I cannot emphasize enough, talk to trusted professionals. And then, people sometimes think like, oh, I don't need to talk to a realtor because I'm not selling. Oh, I don't need to talk to a realtor because I don't need to move. I don't need to buy a real estate. But if you are talking to a senior transition specialist, those planning and discussion, entertain different options. Maybe you want to buy a multi-generational home with your adult children by putting resources together, and then you have a separate living quarter, or some adult children buy home, smaller home, the ranch style home as an investment property and rent it to their aging parents. And the aging parents sell their current home, free up responsibility of home ownership, and then you become a renter, but your landlord is your adult children. So, or like a ADU, the accessory dwelling unit, sometimes that you buy a home with a big lot and then build a mother-in-law home in adult children's backyard. So they're all different, options to entertain depending on what your goals are. So, I'd be happy to, do a consultation or, brainstorm different ideas depending on what you're trying to do. And then a realtor often serves as the connector and the coordinator of the team, meaning if you don't know any estate planning attorney, I may have somebody I would recommend. I enjoy working with Liz on the actual execution part of the downsizing. Okay, and this is the coming from my experience. We all have emotional attachment to home and in our belongings, and there's oftentimes, especially in the seniors, it's very difficult to sell your home that you built a family for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, and then they kind of lock in to resist. And so I recently started partnering with a therapist who focus on seniors clients, and then the downsizing sounds easy if you just talk about the concept, but once you're in it, it's an emotional journey, and then nobody should do it alone. So either you involve your families or involve the professionals to help you go through. It's gonna be difficult somewhat. And then what the key to go through those difficult transition is to have the bigger goal in mind. So the writing down what you're trying to accomplish by downsizing becomes really a beacon of light when things get tough. And then also, like I said, that sometimes getting a therapist involved with all the life transitions, not just downsizing, but sometimes people have a hard time with like retirement. The transitioning into retirement. Sometimes it's a loss of your professional identity.
It takes a second.
Okay, so this is the last slide. what's successful downsizing? Less maintenance responsibility, less financial responsibility, less clutter, less stress, safer home, and more time to spend on what you desire. So I want you to think of downsizing as an exciting, concept to accomplish happiness. And then in the process, execution might be challenging, but there are professionals that we can help you through. Okay, so I will hand over to Liz.
Thank you, Sherry. I'm trying to get my presentation up.
It's a little slow, huh?
It takes a second in between the slides. Oops, I just clicked on the wrong thing. I hope that doesn't bring up my ear.
There we are.
All right, so I have 20 minutes. Can you give me a 5-minute warning? Okay.